On August the 18th, 1929, the once silent sky of Ethiopia was pierced by the roar of a French Potez 25 single-engine twin-seater biplane, piloted by Antoine-André Maillet. This sound, this event, resonated across Ethiopia and was felt throughout the African continent. Unbeknownst to most Ethiopians, it was a clarion call. Aviation as an inspired catalyst to nation building. The fiercely independent peoples of Ethiopia swiftly rose to the challenge by spawning homegrown developed training facilities, pioneering Ethiopia's first batch of pilots, including the first female Ethiopian pilot, maintenance technicians, and aviation technology. During this period, the contributions of the American aviator Colonel John Robinson was instrumental in training Ethiopian pilots and expanding aviation services. The excitement of 1930s was about overcoming the barriers of a landlocked mindset to a nation beholding a global vista. What beckoned was the thrill of adventure, propelled by boundless perspective in the realm of reach and speed, with the implications of new opportunities and potentials in communication, transportation, and commerce. After the victory over Italy in 1941, the US government invited the Ethiopian government to attend an international civil aviation conference in Chicago in 1944. This made Ethiopia one of the few African nations to sign the convention of the International Civil Aviation Organization. Exactly 1 year later, on December 21, 1945, Emperor Haile Selassie set in motion the wheels of modernization by establishing the country's first commercial carrier called Ethiopian Airlines, codename EAL. It was financed by the government of Ethiopia and was operated by TWA. Initially, 5 Douglas C-47 Skytrains, popularly called DC-3s, were bought. These aircraft were flown to Addis Ababa in February 1946. By July of the same year, 4 more Skytrains joined the fleet, and additionally 3 more in 1947. EAL's first scheduled service took place on April 8, 1946 to Cairo. The 5 main routes in the early years were Asmara, Djibouti-Aden, Khartoum, Cairo. The carrier recorded a remarkable £40,000 profit for 1949, thus instilling the unique ET culture of discipline and work philosophy, hence a profitability DNA. In 1953, through the technical assistance provided by the International Civil Aviation Organization, an aviation school was opened in Addis Ababa. The first 60 trainees of the school were trained in communication, navigation, aircraft, meteorology, radio operation, and maintenance. On the 14th of July 1953, a new agreement with TWA that succeeded the original one was signed. Unlike other companies, the airline's preamble stated that it was the ultimate aim that EAL shall eventually be operated entirely by Ethiopian personnel. Also, in 1955, EAL inaugurated a self-owned maintenance facility. EAL introduced 2 aircraft in the 50s. 3 Convair CV-240s in 1952 unveiled forward-facing luxury interior seats and pressurized cabins, which eventually served domestic and regional routes, while 3 longer-haul 4-engine aircraft, Douglas DC-6, were assigned the international destinations as far as Europe. EAL joined the International Air Transport Association, IATA, on the 1st of January 1959. The jet age and route expansion. In December 1962, the arrival of two Boeing 720s marked the carrier's entrance into the jet age. These modern equipment were instrumental in expanding the airline's network into West Africa, including Lagos, Nigeria, in 1964. The East-West Africa link was groundbreaking, in that for the first time it was possible to fly direct in both directions without having to take the much longer route via Europe. The first jet service in Africa took place on the 15th of January 1963, penetrating deeper into the African and European network, and brought about the advent of airline alliances. In 1963 and 1964, Ethiopian was instrumental in providing the logistics during the height of the Pan-African movement and the formation of the OAU, Organization of the African Unity, headquartered in Addis Ababa. The jet age ushered a pressing need for advanced training and better airport infrastructure, and thus launching Bole International Airport in 1963, where the company set its headquarters. The firm changed from a corporation to a share company in 1965 and changed its name to Ethiopian Airlines. On its 25th anniversary in 1971, the company was ready to continue without foreign assistance and ended its 30-year relationship with TWA. The most memorable and iconic marketing motto, Ethiopian, going to great length to please, was coined during this period. Since then, Ethiopian Airlines has been managed and staffed by Ethiopian personnel. The first Ethiopian General Manager, or CEO, was Colonel Semret Matane, appointed in 1971. Ethiopian was the first African airline to fly to China and the fourth among all world airlines. The 727s arrived in the late 1970s as a replacement for the oldest Boeing 720s. In 1982, Ethiopian became the first African carrier in ordering the Boeing 767, as well as the first airline to order the Boeing 767-200ER. In 1984, the first of these aircraft set a new distance record for a twinjet, flying 7,500 miles non-stop from Washington, D.C. to Addis Ababa on delivery to the company. The Sahel route, the second trans-African expansion to the west, consisting of Niamey, Bamako and Dakar, provided direct link to the network in 1984. The Boeing 737-200 joined the fleet in late 1987. In 1990, Ethiopian became the first passenger airline in taking delivery of the Boeing 757 freighter, receiving the first of 5 Boeing 757-200s a year later. The frequent flyer program, named Sheba Miles, after the legendary Queen of Sheba, was launched in 1999. 2000 onwards, a fleet renewal started in the early 2000s, with the incorporation of the Boeing 737-700 and the Boeing 767-300ER. In the late 2000s, the airline announced it would be the launch customer of the Boeing 787 Dreamliner, the first in Africa and second in the world, of which was introduced into the fleet in 2012. And also placed orders to acquire brand new Boeing 777-200LRs and Airbus A350-900s, both the first in Africa, being introduced in 2010 and 2016 respectively. Bombardier Q400 was deployed in 2012. These newly introduced aircraft types are now serving as the backbone of the fleet. In late September 2010, Ethiopian Airlines was officially invited to join Star Alliance. The carrier became a member of the alliance in December 2011, the third Africa-based carrier in doing so. Under the tutelage of Group CEO Tewolde Gebremariam, Ethiopian Airlines surpassed all projections of Vision 2025 as early as 2018 and 2019.
In Vision 2025, we decided to scale up the growth, and we aimed for some milestones to be achieved by 2025. It was a 15 years strategic roadmap, but fortunately and amazingly, with a positive surprise that we have achieved all the milestones by 2019. By all measures, the airline has grown threefold, more than threefold in the last decade. So we are very happy to celebrate today the 75th anniversary.
Under his guidance, indeed, it came to pass that aviation did become the catalyst for growth and change. Ethiopian Airlines sagely bucked industry-proven growth parameters, and so, while most carriers chose to focus on core passenger business, Ethiopian Airlines opted for diversification, since it makes good business sense in an emerging market such as the African continent to have independent, standalone business units.
The airline has grown in all the four pillars of Vision 2025. The four pillars are: number one is fleet. The first one is the 787 Dreamliner from the Boeing family. The most modern airplane, state of the art, the most efficient airplane. And the second one is the Airbus A350, again, the most modern airplane in the Airbus family. So these are the 21st century aviation technology products. Long haul, wide body. We also have small airplanes like Bombardier Q400 and the 737. The diversity of the fleet was unavoidable. The second one is human resource development. So we decided early on to invest in the Aviation Academy. I remember we invested around 100 million US dollars. To make sure that we have the capacity to train pilots, technicians, engineers, cabin crew, sales, marketing, leadership, and so on. Now, we're very happy to see that not only we are self-sufficient, but we have started to train people and export to the rest of the world so that they can get a better quality jobs in the Middle East and Europe. Now we have moved from scarcity to abundance. Also a matter of principle that when the airline grows, employees should grow together. And then the third one was the infrastructure, as I said. Not many airlines invest in infrastructure. Ethiopian Airlines has now decided by entering into hotel and travel and tourism to play its own leading role for our country. Like the hotel where we are in today, Ethiopian Skylight Hotel. This is a hotel, the largest hotel in our country, with 375 rooms and big conference center, which is the first phase only. And as you have seen, the second phase is now coming up, which will have 630 rooms, and combined phase 1 and phase 2 will be more than 1,000 rooms, which will be the largest in the continent. This is also paving the way for the airline to significantly play its role in the tourism development of the country. We want to be the catalyst. So talk about the cargo center hub that that is the largest in the continent, and comparable to Schiphol or in Amsterdam or Hong Kong or Changi in Singapore. It is one of the most modern technology cargo center with an annual capacity of 1 million tons, partially for dry cargo, partially for perishable cold chain and pharma. We had to build our own MRO services, the maintenance hangars, the engine, the component cells. Last time you saw the engine test capability that we have built, and today the engine shops are expanded to accommodate the new engines, the new technology engines, GenX from GE and also XWB from from Rolls-Royce. The catering facility, because we have also the largest catering facility in the continent, which can produce about 100,000 meals a day. Right now, before COVID, we have reached about 50,000, so half of its capacity. So we have quite substantial room for growth. And then the simulators. I'm sure you've flown the simulators. We have 7 of them, full flight simulators. Each one cost around $25 million. And the Ace one is now coming this month, end of this month. So we have for the 777, the 787, the A350, the 767, the 737 MAX and the other one, 2, the Q400. And now the one which is coming at the end of this month will be the second Q400. The other infrastructure that we have worked with the government is the inclusion of the Ethiopian airports. We have 23 airports in Ethiopia, in addition to the hub Bole here, and they're all now within the group. We have built many in the last 10 years. I think we built about 8 of them. And we are now also building 5 additional. We are also investing in airport expansion. The 4th pillar and the final one is systems. You have the fleet, the human resource, and the infrastructure. And systems is the glue which brings them together. And by systems, we mean policy, procedures, processes, and IT facilities. So in IT facilities, we have invested more than $50 million. Most of our IT are bought from the shelf. For instance, we have Maintenix in the MRO system, which is a leading provider of MRO IT system. We have Sabre for passenger services, and we have SAP for ERP, for HR, finance, procurement, and so on. Today, I think 3 years ago, we have declared that the airline is paper-free. So unless, for cultural and historical reasons, people love to have papers, the airline is completely digitalized, both the internal processes and also the external customer interface. Right now, you can travel on Ethiopian with your mobile. You can buy your ticket, book your flight, and check in, and save your boarding pass on your mobile and board the aircraft.
Marching forward, Ethiopian Airlines' win-win proven and tested formula gives rise to new initiatives. Soon to come is another infrastructure project in the lucrative aerospace industry. Also gaining traction is the flagship Skylight Hotel as the tip of the spear for tourism and travel. And with the conviction of doubling its fleet, coupled with a new airport project under construction, CEO Tiwalde's Vision 2035 hands-on style of leadership exudes confidence, gearing up for more than 50 million inbound traffic. Intent on building Addis Ababa as the hub of all hubs, is already a present mindset reality. Armed with a strategic plan, aided by modern aviation technology and an inspired workforce, Ethiopian Airlines owns the center stage as it embraces the world.
We are going to scale up the growth in Vision 2035. Fleet is going to grow, more than 200 airplanes, destinations, employees and everything, all parameters, but also more diversification. So we will be expanding our presence in the travel and tourism sector, as I said before. We will be diversifying into aerospace manufacturing, which we have started recently. In the travel and tourism sector, we are aiming single-handedly to bring more than 15 million tourists to Ethiopia by 2035, which currently is less than 1 million, as you know. A lot of milestones now in Vision 2035. Also in our academy, we will not focus on the needs of the airline, but also Ethiopia is more than 110 million people, mostly young workforce, and close to 50 universities all over the country, graduating hundreds of thousands of engineers every year. So we want to train them in the aviation academy so that we can find them jobs all over the world. So quite significant growth in our Vision 2035. And again, you know, it may look like when we introduce it, we will discuss it, but we will have a lot of people telling us again, oh, this is another daydream, but it will be a reality.